All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to be looking at a really fascinating, kind of reality-bending theory from an author named Sol Luckman. The basic idea? Our existence isn't quite what it seems, and maybe, just maybe, we have the power to change it from the inside out. Okay, let's start with the big idea right off the bat. You gotta forget everything you think you know about spiritual awakening. See, this isn't about waking up from the dream. It's about becoming aware that you're in the dream, and then learning how to play with it. So that brings us to our first section. We're going to lay the groundwork for this whole worldview by asking a really basic question. What is this place we're all living in? Okay, so the theory kicks off with a pretty wild premise. The world you see around you, the one that feels so solid with all its rules and limitations, it's not. It's actually a shared imaginative construct. Think of it like a collective dream that we're all having together, all tuned to the same channel in this huge dreamscape. And the implication of that is, well, it's huge, because if our world is built from imagination, then our thoughts aren't just these passive things happening in our heads. No, they're active, creative forces. They are literally the tools that build and shape the reality all around us. But this is where the theory takes a bit of a darker turn. It suggests that our dream, well, it's been hijacked. We're not just dreaming our own dreams. We're actually being farmed for our energy. So this idea introduces a kind of apex predator from this bigger dreamscape. Luckman calls it the dragon. It's a concept that's pretty similar to the Gnostic idea of the demiurge. And this being saw our creative power and basically decided to set up a farm. Its goal isn't to kill us, but to manage us, kind of like a renewable resource. Now, what this thing harvests isn't physical. It feeds on our emotional energy, and specifically the intense negative kind. We're talking fear, anger, outrage. This substance, sometimes it's called louche, is what supposedly powers this whole construct and, feeds the dragon. So, okay, that brings up a really important question, right? How could one single being control billions of us, especially if we're all these potentially powerful creators? If our thoughts are so powerful, why aren't we just free? Well, the mechanism for control isn't what you'd think. It's not external. There are no chains, no walls. It's way, way more sneaky than that. The control is internal. It's a hijacking of the very thing that gives us our power, our own mind. And this theory actually reframes the whole Garden of Eden story as a metaphor for this cosmic takeover. So picture this. Humanity used to exist in this state of collective, sort of unconscious awareness. Then the dragon comes along and offers us the apple. But the apple wasn't a fruit, it was its own mind, like a new operating system for our consciousness. And in exchange for individuality, for having an ego, we made a really bad deal. You know that constant internal monologue you have, the voice in your head you think of as you? The theory suggests that's the dragon's voice. Okay, so if that's the problem, what's the solution? How do we fight back? Well, the path to reclaiming our power, according to this, is to become a kind of spiritual alchemist. The heart of this fight back is something called inner alchemy, and it starts with healing your own personal traumas to get back your own lost energy. Then it's about learning how to absorb ambient energy from the world around you. But here's the most radical part. You can intentionally take back the energy that the dragon has harvested from all of us. And just to give you an idea of the sheer scale of the energy we're talking about, check out this really provocative thought from the source. It reframes these massive trauma-inducing events as basically huge energy harvesting rituals. And all that harvested energy, it's just sitting there, waiting to be reclaimed. And this isn't just some vague idea. There's a specific process laid out. First, you set the intention to absorb this raw ambient energy, even the negative stuff, the louche. Second, you use your focus to purify it, to kind of recode it for your own use. And finally, you pack that purified energy down into your energetic core. You do this over and over, and eventually, you build an internal power plant, the legendary philosopher's stone. But look, you can't fill a leaky bucket, right? Before you can even start storing power, you have to plug the leaks. And this theory points to a specific weakness in our energy field, a kind of tear in our aura that it calls the fragmentary body. This is supposedly the doorway for all that parasitic draining, and sealing it up is the absolute first step to getting your power back. Okay, so let's say you've done it. You've sealed your energy field, you're building up your internal power source. But where's this all going? What's the ultimate end game here? This is where things get really interesting. There's this distinction made between the classic hero's journey that we all know and what's called the ultimate hero's journey. Now, the regular hero, they go on adventure and they come back home with some gift for their tribe. But the ultimate hero, their goal isn't to come back. It's to leave this reality for good. It is a one-way ticket out. And the goal isn't just to escape, it's to matriculate. The word choice is so specific here. Matriculate and matrix come from the same Latin root word for womb. So the whole idea is that you use this reality like a cosmic womb to fully develop yourself, and then you get birthed out of it as a totally sovereign creator being. And that brings us to the final objective. You use the insane pressures of this reality to forge your soul, kind of like a blacksmith forging a sword in fire. With all that power you've accumulated, you build a new, durable, energetic body, a dream body. Then, at the moment of physical death, instead of just fading to black, you consciously transfer your awareness into this new vehicle. You achieve true immortality. You become a sovereign being, ready to go create your own worlds. And so, all of this leaves us with a really powerful question. Look, whether you take this theory as literal truth or just a giant metaphor, it forces us to ask, if our focus and our imagination really do shape our reality, what kind of world are we choosing to create with them, right here, right now?